Hello everyone, and welcome to another Dragonfly deck review. My name is Dan, Dragonfly9078, um, and the deck I'm reviewing today is the Hazy Flame archetype deck that I have made. Hazy Flames are a series of uh, fire monsters. Um, yeah, they're a series of fire monsters. Ranging from beast to wing beast to pyro to beast warrior. Um, so they're not very uniform in type, but they are all fire. They're they're in the mid-teens to low 2000s in attack power, um, except for one that is like the defensive one, where it only has 200 attack, but it's got 2100 defense. Um, But the really funny thing about this archetype is they're all level 6. There are no Hazy Flame monsters that are not level 6. Even and that's because the XYZ card for them is rank 6. Um, and they're mostly focused around getting that out. Um, Although they're actually not bad on their own. They all also share the effect that they cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects, which can be very useful. Um, and they all have effects in addition to the can't be targeted thing. But yeah, let's get into it. So first up, the first monster is not a Hazy Flame monster, and is also the only one in this deck that is not level 6. It is Flamvel Fire Dog. It's a level 4 Fire Beast, 1900 attack, 200 defense. When it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon a fire monster with 200 or less defense from your deck, except for Flamvel Fire Dog. So that can get you Hazy Flame Cerberius, Hazy Flame Hippogriff, or Lava Landslord, the way that I've built this. Um, Definitely a good way to get cards out. Um, and those are not weak monsters. Cerberius is 2000, Hippogriff is 2100, and Landslord is also 2100. So definitely not anything to sneeze at. Um, I never got that expression. Why? I mean, like, why are you sneezing at anything in the first place? But that's beside the point. Sorry. Next up is Goku, the Pyre of Malice. It's a level 6 fire zombie, 2200 attack, 1900 defense. You can special summon it from your hand if you control a fire monster. Um, but when it is special summoned that way, you destroy a fire monster that you control. Um, every monster in this deck is fire, by the way, except for some of the XYZs. During your standby phase, if Goku is on the field, you special summon a Fireball token, which is Pyro, Fire attribute, of course. It's level 1, 100 attack and defense, in defense position. And if Goku is on the field, you contribute another fire monster to increase its attack by 500 until the end phase. So it can increase its own attack, and it provides a monster to tribute to do that. Um, so just by itself, it can increase. It can basically stay as a 2700 attack monster during your turn only, unfortunately, but it can keep doing that every one of your turns. Um, Also of note is that that effect, the tribute to increases attack, is not once per turn. So you can do it as many, well, yeah, actually as many times as you can per turn. Yeah. Our first Hazy Flame is Hazy Flame Cerberius. Is a level 6 fire beast, 2000 attack, 200 defense. You can normal summon it without tributing, but if you do, then its attack drops to 1000. Its original attack drops to 1000, which isn't that big a deal if you're using it to XYZ. While it's face up, can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and when it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Hazy card from your deck to your hand. So that's any of the Hazy Flame monsters, or one of their 2 support cards, Hazy Pillar or Hazy Glory. Hazy Flame Griffin. That's the other thing. All the most to all, actually I think it's just all of the Hazy Flame monsters are based on mythological creatures. So Hazy Flame Griffin is the defensive one, level 6 fire winged beast, 200 attack, 2100 defense. If your opponent controls a monster, and all the monsters that are on your side of the field or in your graveyard, if there are any at all, as long as, I'm sorry, I said that badly. If you do not have any, that's also bad. If all of the monsters on your side of the field and graveyard are fire, then you can special summon it. But you can also special summon it if you don't have any on your side of the field or in your graveyard at all. You just cannot have any monsters in your graveyard or on your side of the field that are not fire. And your opponent has to have a monster to special summon it. From your hand, of course. And it can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. I'm sorry, I just totally made a mess of that effect. Hazy Flame Hippogriff is a Fire Pyro, level 6 of course, 2100 attack, 200 defense, can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and once per turn you contribute a fire monster you control to increase Hippogriff's attack by 300. So, kind of like Goku, but not as useful. Its second effect, I mean, the not being targeted can be pretty awesome. Hazy Flame Manticore is actually a more recent addition to Dueling Network than the others. It's a level 6, of course, Fire Winged Beast, 2200 attack, 300 defense, so it's just outside of range for Fire Dog. Can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and once per turn during either player's turn, you can send a fire monster except for Manticore, or except for that specific card. You can send another copy of Manticore if you have one, from your hand or face up from your side of the field to the graveyard, and Manticore cannot be destroyed by card effects for that turn. So that's good for surviving mass destruction cards that don't target, like Mirror Force, Dark Hole, whatever, because they don't target, so its other effect doesn't protect it from that. Hazy Flame Percyton, another level 6. All of them are level 6 too, except for Fire Dog. It's a Fire Pyro, 1600 attack, 1700 defense. Cannot be special summoned except by the effect of a Hazy Flame monster. Can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. And you can send a fire monster from your hand to the graveyard and tribute Percyton to special summon 2 Hazy Flame monsters from your deck. But you can only use Percyton's effect once per turn. So this can be really good. Because I mean, it is actually the weakest of the well, it has the lowest attack except for Griffin, and its defense is not much better. So you can immediately basically turn a summon of this into a special summon of any two Hazy Flame monsters you want. It can be pretty useful. Hazy Flame Sphinx is, of course, level 6. Of course, Fire is a Beast Warrior, 1900 attack and defense. Can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. And once per turn, you can declare a card type, monster, spell, or trap, then send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. If it was the declared type, then you can special summon a fire monster from your hand or graveyard. So, it's pretty straightforward. It definitely would be good with Convulsion of Nature, but I have not figured out how to get Convulsion of Nature to work without a lot of hassle on Dueling Network, so it's not in here. Otherwise, it would be really good with Sphinx. I did say it's once per turn, but it's actually a bit deeper than that. It can only that effect of Sphinx can only be used once per turn. So even if I had both copies of it on the field, I could only use that effect once per turn. Horus, the Black Flame Dragon, level 6. It's another fire, another level 6. It's Dragon. 2300 attack, 1600 defense. Is unaffected by any spell effects, yours or your opponent's. And its other effect deals with special summoning Horus level 8, but I don't have Horus level 8 in here. I probably should. Yeah, I'm gonna put Horus level 8 in here, because I actually don't get Horus level 6 out, pretty much ever. I mean, I do sometimes, but not often. So I'm gonna put Horus level 8 in there. So, Horus level 6, during the end phase, if it destroyed a monster by battle this turn, you can send it to the graveyard to special summon Horus level 8 from your hand or deck. And Horus level 8 is, of course, level 8. Is a fire dragon, 3000 attack, 1800 defense. Can only be special summoned by the effect of Horus level 6. And during either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you can negate the activation and destroy the spell card. So Horus is just completely unaffected by any spell cards. Horus level 6 is unaffected by spell cards. Horus level 8 chooses which ones are activated, basically. So definitely a useful card. Lava Landslord is level 6 fire, 2100 attack, 200 defense. It is a warrior monster. You can normal summon it without tributing, but if you do, then during the end phase, it is sent to the graveyard. When it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished fire monsters and add it to your hand. Unfortunately, it does not destroy itself with its own effect. So normal summoning it will not trigger its other effect to grab a banished monster and put it in your hand, because it's not it wasn't destroyed, it was just sent to the graveyard. But it is within the range of Fire Dog. It is within the range of Rekindling, Flambeau Counter, 200 defense, that is. Manticore of Darkness is, I think, a pretty good card for this deck. It is another level 6 Fire Beast Warrior, 2300 attack, 1000 defense. During the end phase of any turn Manticore of Darkness was sent to the graveyard, that's from the field or from your hand, or I guess from your deck, you can send a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard to special summon Manticore of Darkness from your graveyard. So that's really good, because that means you can send Sphinx, Cerberus, Griffin, Manticore, or Fire Dog, or heck, another Manticore of Darkness. Um, yeah, actually, I think that could work. I think you could, if you have a Manticore of Darkness on the field, it's destroyed. Uh, you can probably send a Manticore of Darkness to the grave to special summon the first one, and then uh, since it's still the end phase of the turn that Manticore of Darkness was sent to the grave, you can send like Sphinx to the grave to special summon the other one. So you have two Manticores of Darkness. Um, yeah. So double summon, you can normal summon an additional time. Uh, Straightforward. It's can be good with all these. Well, it's I'd say it's good for all the tribute summoning I'm gonna be doing, but I'm actually not doing a lot of tribute summoning because the only thing I can summon without tribute summoning, the only thing that has the level to do so is Fire Dog. Most of the other things have a way of special summoning themselves or a way to make summoning them easier. But but it's actually good because it lets you because with Hazy Pillar and Hazy Glory, both make it so that you don't have to sacrifice for your Hazy Flame monsters. You can just normal summon them. So double summon lets you get multiple ones out on the field. Um, Same with Ultimate Offering. Hazy Pillar, continuous spell card. You can normal summon Hazy Flame monsters for one less tribute. Very good because they only require one tribute anyway. Once per turn, you can target an XYZ monster you control and attach a Hazy Flame monster from your hand or your side of the field to that monster as an XYZ material. This is very good for their XYZ monster because it gains effects based on how many materials it has attached to it. Using the field card Molten Destruction, all fire monsters gain 500 attack and lose 400 defense. Pretty straightforward. Rekindling, special summon as many fire monsters from your graveyard as possible with 200 defense. That's Fire Dogs, Cerberus, Hippogriff, and Landsword. During the end phase, remove from play all monsters that were special summoned by this effect. I mean, you're probably going to be using them to XYZ anyway, so that hardly even matters. And if it does, then you can get Landlord to be destroyed and grab them from your banish pile. XYZ Burst, if you control a rank 6 or higher XYZ monster, which is probably the main rank of XYZ you're going to get with this deck, destroy all set cards your opponent controls. Pretty decent card, especially with all the ranks. I mean, if you're doing an XYZ summon, unless you have two Fire Dogs, it's gonna be rank 6. So I don't know. It just seems like it makes sense. XYZ Unit, equip only to an XYZ monster. It gains attack equal to its rank times 200. If the equipped monster you control would detach its XYZ material to activate its effect, you can detach XYZ Unit as one of the materials. Yeah, I mean, like I said, their XYZ depends on having or gains effects based on how many materials it has. So XYZ Unit allows it to use its detaching, because it does have an effect where it detaches to activate, allows it to use that effect without without worrying about losing its other effects. Plus, it's an attack boost. I mean, 200, that's a 1200 boost for pretty much any of these, and 800 for Utopia. Yeah. Backfire, it is a fire deck, so figured why not. It's a continuous trap card. I do have two of them. When a fire monster or monsters on your side of the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, your opponent takes 500 damage. That can really rack up, especially because this deck is very good about special summoning from the graveyard. Speaking of, Call of the Haunted, you all know it, I'm sure. Ultimate Offering, you know. Mirror Force, you know. Dark Bribe, you know. Flamvell Counter, it's a counter trap. It's a bit situational, but, you know, fits with the theme and it works well enough. Um, I say it's a bit situational because you have to have specific monsters in the graveyard, but it actually does work pretty well. Um, Remove from play one fire monster in your graveyard with 200 defense, negate the activation of a spell or trap card, and destroy it. So, again, that's Fire Dog, Cerberius, Hippogriff, or Lancelord, and again, Lancelord can grab banished fire monsters and put them back in your hand. Um, Hazy Glory, the other Hazy support card. Uh, Again, it's a continuous trap card. You can normal summon Hazy Flame monsters for one less tribute. Again, they only require one, so that's a very good effect. You can send face-up Hazy Glory from the field to the graveyard to target a Hazy card in your graveyard except Hazy Glory and add it to your hand. Um, it's good for getting cards back. I mean, I'm not really sure what else to say about it. It's good for getting cards back. Since it is a continuous trap effect, you can activate it during your opponent's turn. So, say they Heavy Storm or MST, while you have this face up on the field, you can chain its effect and grab something from your grave when this would be destroyed anyway. Kickfire, the counterpart to Backfire. Once per turn, it's another continuous trap card. Once per turn, when a face-up fire monster or monsters you control is destroyed by a card effect, place a counter on Kickfire for every destroyed fire monster. During either player's standby phase, you can send Kickfire to the grave, and your opponent takes 1,000 damage for every counter that was on Kickfire. So, this can be a very good card. I'm sure it's better in some other deck where it's like focused on destroying your monsters or something. I don't know, Scraps or something if they have fire monsters. Or with like Mech Lords maybe. But yeah, so I don't know, it works. Uh, yeah, Mirror Force, Spiritual Fire Art Current Eye. Tribute a fire monster on your side of the field. Inflict damage to your opponent's life points equal to the original attack of the tributed monster. Uh, Straightforward burn card. Uh, Also, similar to Hazy Glory, it's good if your opponent like used Dark Hole and you're gonna lose your monster anyway. You might as well turn it into burn damage. XYZ Reborn. Special summon an XYZ monster in your grave and put XYZ Reborn on it as a material. It's especially good with Hazy Pillar because Hazy Pillar can then regenerate the rest of the materials. So, I mean, that's the main drawback of XYZ Reborn is that the monster comes back, but it basically comes back as a one shot. Its effect only has one use because it can only detach one card. But Hazy Pillar lets you attach more materials to it, so it's definitely good. The main XYZ of the deck, and indeed of the archetype, is Hazy Flame Trice. Is a Fire Pyro, rank 6, 2500 attack, 1800 defense. Requires 2 or more with a max of 5 level 6 fire monsters. Once per turn, you can detach an XYZ material from Trice to target a monster your opponent controls or that is in their graveyard and banish it. And again, it gains effects based on the number of materials it has. If it has 3 or more, it gets 200 attack and defense for every material attached to it. If it has 4 or more, can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, standard Hazy Flame effect. And if it has 5, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So with it's very easy to get 3 materials on it, and then Hazy Pillar it up to 4, and then next turn, since it can't be targeted, Hazy Pillar it up to 5, and then it's pretty much invincible. Well, I wouldn't say it's invincible, but it's definitely tough to take down, especially since it's with 5 materials, it gets 1,000 extra attack and defense. Um, and then heck, put XYZ Unit on it, it gets another 1,200, and also gets a free banish. Um, so definitely a good card. I don't know, I like it. Utopia, I'm sure you all know. Atlantis, I'm sure you all know. These are just like rank 6 XYZ monsters. Yeah, and I mean, heck, Utopia is only really in there because I do have 2 rank 4s, and I want to be able to use Atlantis' effect if it ever comes up. Um, you can equip when it's summoned, when Atlantis is XYZ summoned, you can equip it with a number monster from your graveyard, like Utopia, and then you can detach a material from Atlantis to send the equipped number monster to the graveyard and have your opponent's life points. So, can be a good effect. I definitely don't use it often because the circumstances where I can use it come up so rarely. But you know, nice to have the option, I guess. So so that's my Hazy Flame deck. Um, it can be pretty fun to use, but it does take a bit of getting used to because they are like all level 6 monsters. I mean, I should probably put in like Mausoleum of the Emperor, but your opponent can use that too, and these uh these generally work pretty well, and the rest have ways of summoning themselves. But oh yeah, you can send Manticore of Darkness to the graveyard with Sphinx's effect because it mills from the deck. Um, so anyway, uh, that's the deck. Um, hope you enjoyed it. Uh, thanks for watching. Um, and yeah, I really don't have much more to say. So I'll see you next time.